Here are a few of the dumbest criminals who just aren't good at their profession. Number 9. James Washington. James Washington was already behind bars when he made a bad situation way worse. While serving a prison sentence for another crime, Washington suffered a heart attack in 2012. After being rushed to the hospital, Washington must have thought it was all over. He confessed to a murder 17 years earlier to a prison guard stationed in his room. Much to his surprise, he survived the ordeal, though it was hardly a new lease on life. Washington must have provided some pretty self-incriminating evidence as he was charged with first-degree murder. Of course, he tried to take it back, but since he was already a person of interest in the 1995 cold case, prosecutors needed very little additional evidence to convict him. In addition to whatever sentence he was already serving, Washington had a 51-year-to-life sentence tacked on. Number 8. The Alaskan Bear Suit Menace. In August of 2015, a very unusual story about a man in a bear suit began to circulate. Police in Anchorage, Alaska were searching for a man dressed in a fairly realistic bear costume who had been harassing actual bears. The bizarre incident occurred near an artificial dam in the Chilkoot River when a crowd of people formed to watch a mama grizzly bear and her cubs feast on salmon. It was probably a lovely moment that all these people got to witness together. Then, out of nowhere, some guy decked out in a fairly realistic bear costume dashes through the crowd and got dangerously close to the grizzlies. Let's just focus on how stupid it is to harass a mama grizzly bear while her cubs are feeding. Either his costume was convincing enough to fool the bears, or Mama Bear did an on-the-spot evaluation of this crazy guy and determined he was a bigger threat to society than he was to her or her cubs. Regardless of the reason, she chose not to maul him. According to the Associated Press, the dude was confronted by wildlife officers. After refusing to give them his name, he told them, "You have the license plate number, you figure it out," before hopping in his car and driving away, still in costume. Police investigated the incident, and this guy could face wildlife harassment, though it's not clear what kind of results this investigation was able to yield. The AP put it best when they noted, it wasn't immediately clear what he was trying to accomplish. Number 7. Levi Charles Reardon. Narcissism. We're all guilty of it now and again, and in the age of social media, it's really easy to indulge in narcissistic guilty pleasures. Most people, however, would have the presence of mind to keep a rather low profile if they were a wanted fugitive. Most people. Meet Levi Charles Reardon, a Montana man whose narcissism cost him his freedom. In April of 2015, the Crime Stoppers Facebook page shared a mugshot of Reardon, declaring the 23-year-old as a most wanted. My guess is he was already a criminal. Apparently, he's been cashing fraudulent checks that he made out to himself. Now, the average person might be a bit concerned if they knew a nationwide manhunt for them were underway. Making matters worse, the authorities had now enlisted the help of the public to bring him down. Reardon, however, didn't seem all that worried about it. In fact, he was so flattered by Crime Stoppers that he liked his mugshot on Facebook. That wasn't all that smart. Police were able to track him down and arrest him for stealing a wallet and cashing a bunch of checks. I seriously doubt he's gonna like prison. Number 6. Jimmy Leskowitz Jr. Fugitives typically try to keep a low profile. Of course, typically would be the operative word here. Jimmy Leskowitz Jr. did the exact opposite of that. By January of 2014, Leskowitz had been on the run for several months. That previous summer, he allegedly assaulted a guy, stole his wallet along with his ATM card, and just dipped. Somehow, this knucklehead managed to elude police for all this time and apparently began to feel pretty confident in his future on the run. So much so that he taunted the cops by posting his wanted photo on Facebook with the caption, "LOL, I love it." Now, knowing that they were dealing with an extremely dumb dude, the Freeland, Pennsylvania police decided to create a fake account and send him a message under the guise of a woman asking him out. This idiot agreed to this rendezvous and was easily arrested after showing up. Seriously, how thirsty are dudes these days? After months of failing to catch this crook, cops cracked the case within 45 minutes of Leskowitz's boastful Facebook post. There are two lessons to be learned here. beware of catfishes, and for the love of all things holy, don't update your Facebook status the next time you're on the run from the law. Number 5. Donald A. Pugh. We all want to look good, and when we see pictures on social media that don't necessarily present us in the best light, we understandably aren't crazy about it. But put yourself in the place of a fugitive for a second. If you're on the lam and you happen to notice that a mugshot put out by the police isn't all that great, you'd probably be able to let it slide, right? Well, Donald A. Pugh couldn't help himself. In January of 2016, police in Lima, Ohio issued a warrant for Pugh's arrest after he failed to appear in court for DUI. According to NBC News, he was also a person of interest in an arson and vandalism investigation. Apparently, he was unimpressed with the mugshot the cops put out on Facebook, so he sent them a selfie with the caption, "Here is a better photo, that one is terrible." To his credit, the second one was way better, but seriously, there is no way. How do these people exist? It features Pugh decked out in a suit and tie with sunglasses while sitting in a nice car. And Pugh isn't the only person who basically helped arrest himself. A German bank robber was so baffled by the ineptitude of the investigation into his crimes that he sent the police an email correcting some of their bad information. For example, the police stated in public that the perp escaped on foot, but he informed them that he actually had a getaway car. They also guessed his age, race, and build wrong, all of which he was good enough to correct in his email. It's not clear why this dude couldn't just accept the gift that fate put into his lap. However, according to Reuters, the Würzburg police quickly traced the email to a gambling hall in Hamburg where they arrested a 19-year-old who, according to the reports, was shocked that the law caught up to him. The real mystery is how this halfwit ever managed to pull off a bank heist to begin with. Number 4. Milton J. Hodges. So, now imagine you're at a nudist colony and some fully dressed guy tries to steal a golf cart. Well, that someone is Florida man Milton Hodges. Can I reiterate how much I love Florida man? Wanted for robbing a convenience store, Hodges again broke the law when he robbed a Lowe's store. He managed to make off with some banana tree seeds by threatening the clerk with a knife. You know, banana tree seeds is actually second on my personal list of things to steal. His escape plan, however, had a few flaws. For starters, he hopped the fence of a nudist colony and threatened the security guard with his knife. After stealing the golf cart to make a faster getaway, Hodges must have stuck out like a sore thumb. As he weaved his way around resort guests, police easily spotted him because he was pretty much the only one wearing any clothes. Let this be a lesson. Whenever you're being chased by cops when you're running through a nudist colony, please drop the banana hammocks. Number 3. Pardon my French. This Calgary couple's first mistake was calling the cops to the scene of the crime to report a home robbery where valuables were gone, windows were smashed, and footprints were even found. It looked like a convincing crime at first glance. Well, the staged crime, rather. However, the cops started to notice a few plot holes, especially when the phone rang and one of the victims, speaking in French, told her father that the whole thing was a ruse so the couple could collect insurance money for the stolen items. Unfortunately for her, one of the cops spoke 7 different languages, which obviously one of them was French. As she basically revealed the details of her crime in front of the cops, Constable Sharanjit Mehrou, the French speaker, took several pages of notes before chiming in with "Merci beaucoup." The woman was charged with mischief, and even if she hadn't blatantly confessed in front of the constables, she might have gotten caught anyways. When authorities arrived, she allegedly had a detailed list of all the valuables missing from her home. That was pretty suspicious in and of itself. She was ultimately only charged with mischief. Number 2. The Facebook couple. When John Morgan and Ashley DeBow used social media to accidentally incriminate themselves, authorities probably figured out they weren't exactly dealing with Bonnie and Clyde. On August 24, 2015, Morgan barged into the savings bank in Asheville, Ohio, and handed the teller a note demanding some cash. Just days later, he posted the incriminating evidence on Facebook, which promptly led to his arrest. The bizarre photos show Morgan doing weird stuff, such as pretending to eat a pile of cash, a mixed stack as he cleverly referred to it, or talking into the money as though it were a phone. Not helping Morgan's case was the fact that his parents lived just a few miles from the bank that he robbed. Plus, he was already a convicted bank robber out on parole. Armed with photo evidence and deductive reasoning, Pickaway County police officers were able to narrow their search down to Morgan and charge him with the crime. Number 1. Renaud Plaisir. Not that you should ever rob a house or take anything that isn't yours, but here's a helpful tip should you ever choose a life of crime. Try to make a quick getaway if at all possible. Don't, for example, steal a snack out of the fridge and then take a nap in the guest room. In other words, do the exact opposite of Renaud Plaisir. While robbing a home in Manchester, New Hampshire, this foolish thief decided to raid the fridge and help himself to some chicken. He then let himself into the guest room and took a nap, leaving his shoes outside the door for some stupid reason. When the homeowner, John Terrell, woke up, he noticed the shoes, peered inside the room, and found Plaisir fast asleep with a knife in his back pocket. So he had his wife call the police while he held a gun to Plaisir. When the cops showed up, they found a backpack full of items that he robbed from other houses, including John's wallet. Here's the thing, he had to go into the bedroom while the Terrells slept to take the wallet, so he knew they were in the house. The fact he knew they were home and still opted to stay there is truly baffling. Here's what's next.